welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into Genesis chapter 43. It's a really pivotal moment in the Joseph story.
Absolutely. The scene is set, isn't it? The famine is still gripping the land. It's harsh.
And that grain the brothers brought back from Egypt the first time, it's
Mhm.
gone. They've used it all up.
That's right. So they're facing this unavoidable reality. They have to go back to Egypt. Period. No more food otherwise.
Yeah, survival hinges on it.
Mm.
But there's this huge catch, this major obstacle.
Yeah. That powerful man in Egypt, Joseph, though they still don't know it's him.
Right, the mysterious figure.
He set a condition, a really strict one for their return.
And that condition really drives the whole first part of this chapter, doesn't it? This tense conversation they have back home.
It does. They're back in Canaan, talking to their father, Israel or Jacob. They need his permission, essentially.
Judah steps up, right? He becomes the spokesperson. He has to break the news, or rather remind his father of the terms.
He does. He reminds Israel very clearly what the man said. That solemn warning. You will not see my face again unless your brother is with you.
Not much room for negotiation there.
None at all. It's
Yeah.
an ultimatum, plain and simple.
So the brothers lay it out for Israel. Look, we can't go. We literally cannot go back unless you send Benjamin with us.
You can almost feel Israel's reaction, just anguish, and he immediately blames them.
Yeah, why did you do this to me? Why tell him you even had another brother? Like, it's their fault for mentioning Benjamin at all.
Which, seems a bit harsh.
Well, yeah. They defend themselves saying, look, he asked us specific questions.
Exactly. Was your father alive? Did you have another brother? What were they supposed to do? Lie?
They just answered honestly. They had no clue, absolutely none, that he would turn around and demand Benjamin join them.
It really shows the bind they were in. Honesty had these completely unforeseen consequences.
So Judah sees his father's distress, the impasse. And this is where he makes this incredibly powerful plea.
He does. He emphasizes the urgency. Send the boy with me, he says. We'll go at once.
Why? So that we and you and our children may live and not die. He puts it in the starkest terms possible. Survival.
But he goes further. He offers himself as a guarantee. A personal guarantee.
Which is huge.
Massive. I myself will guarantee his safety. You can hold me personally responsible. He's putting everything on the line. His relationship with his father, his future.
And he adds, if I don't bring him back to you, I will bear the blame before you all my life, forever.
Wow. Think about that weight. And then he adds that final point about the delay.
Right, the practical cost. Look, if we hadn't waited around arguing about this, we could have gone down there and back twice already.
He's saying this delay is costing us precious time, maybe even lives.
And it seems that whole combination, the desperate need, Judah's unbelievable promise, the sheer logic of the delay, it finally gets through to Israel.
It does. You hear the resignation in his voice, though. If it must be, then do this. It's not a happy decision.
No, it feels heavy. But once he makes it, he gets practical. Okay, if you're going, take gifts.
And not just any gifts. Specific things. Some of the best products of the land.
What does he list? A little balm and a little honey, some spices and myrrh, some pistachio nuts and almonds.
These are valuable items from Canaan, a gesture of goodwill, maybe trying to smooth things over, find favor.
And then there's the silver issue from last time, that confusing discovery.
Right. He tells them, take double the silver.
Double. Why?
Well, first, take back the silver you found in your sacks, return it. Israel even suggests perhaps it was a mistake.
Like he's trying to find a non-threatening explanation for it.
Exactly. Grasping at straws, maybe. And second, take more silver to actually buy the food this time.
So fix the potential problem from last time and bring money for this time. Makes sense.
But the absolute bottom line remains. Take your brother also and go back to the man at once. Benjamin has to go.
And before they leave, Israel offers this prayer. It's quite moving.
It is. He asks God Almighty El Shaddai for mercy. Mercy from this Egyptian official.
Hoping he'll release Benjamin and Simeon. We can't forget Simeon's still being held.
Right, Simeon's been a hostage this whole time. And Israel's final words, they're just heartbreaking.
As for me, if I am bereaved, I am bereaved.
It's the voice of someone who's known deep loss, thinking of Joseph, and is just steeling himself for more pain. Awful.
So with all that, the grief, the promise, the gifts, the silver, and Benjamin, they head off, back down to Egypt.
And they present themselves to Joseph.
And Joseph sees Benjamin with them. This must have been an incredibly intense moment for him.
Oh, undoubtedly. His reaction is immediate. He tells the steward of his house, essentially his chief servant,
Take these men to my house.
slaughter an animal, prepare a meal, they're eating with me at noon.
Wow. Not just sell them grain, but bring them to my home for lunch.
It's a significant step, and the steward does it, takes them towards Joseph's personal residence.
But the brothers, they don't see this as a good sign at all.
No, they panic, instantly. They are filled with fear, suspicion.
They're convinced this is about the silver, the money they found in their sacks last time.
They think it's a setup, a trap.
They literally voice their fear. He's doing this to attack us and overpower us and seize us as slaves and take our donkeys. That's their expectation. Enslavement.
So, interestingly, they decide to be proactive. They don't wait to be accused.
What do?
They approach the steward right at the entrance to the house and try to explain themselves before going inside.
They launch into the story. Look, we came to buy food honestly. When we stopped for the night, we found our silver, the exact amount, back in our sacks.
We've brought it back, see? And we brought extra silver to buy more food this time.
And they make sure to add that crucial bit. We don't know who put our silver in our sacks, pleading ignorance. Total innocence.
And the steward's response must have stunned them.
How so?
He just says, it's all right, like, calm down, don't be afraid.
That's not what they expected.
Not at all. And then he gives this explanation for the silver. He says, your God, the God of your father, has given you treasure in your sacks.
Wait, the Egyptian steward says this, attributing it to their God.
Yes. It's remarkable. He basically says, God provided it, and then adds, I received your silver, meaning the payment from the first trip. Like, don't worry about that payment. It was received.
That must have been incredibly disorienting, but also reassuring.
Hugely reassuring amidst their terror. And then, as if to prove his goodwill, he brings Simeon out to them.
Simeon is released. Wow.
So Simeon's back with them. The steward then ushers them into the house properly.
Real hospitality now. Water to wash their feet, fodder for the donkeys, the works.
And they settle in, get their gifts ready, knowing they're going to eat with this powerful man at noon. The anticipation must have been intense.
You can only imagine. And then finally, Joseph arrives.
They immediately bring out the gifts from Canaan, bowing down before him to the ground.
That bowing again, just like Joseph dreamed years ago. But they still don't see it.
Joseph asks about their welfare, general questions, but then hones in on what he really wants to know.
Their father.
Yes. Is your father well, the old man of whom you spoke? Is he still alive?
And they answer respectfully, your servant, our father, is still alive and well. They bow low again.
And then Joseph looks and he sees him, Benjamin, his own mother's son.
This full brother, after all these years.
He asks, maybe needing confirmation, is this your youngest brother, the one you told me about?
And then he offers a blessing directly to Benjamin. God be gracious to you, my son.
Saying those words, seeing Benjamin, it hits him hard.
The text says he was deeply moved.
All that composure he's maintained, it just cracks. He can't hold it together.
He has to leave the room.
Immediately, he hurries out, looking for somewhere private to weep. He goes into his own room and just lets it out, cries.
It shows you just how much emotion was simmering right below the surface, you know?
Absolutely. Decades of separation, the sight of his little brother, it overwhelms him. But then he pulls himself together.
Washes his face, gets control, comes back out.
And orders the meal served. Serve the food.
And this meal, it's strange. There's some very peculiar things about it.
Definitely. First, the seating. Joseph eats by himself. The brothers eat by themselves. And any Egyptians present eat by themselves.
Why the separation?
The text explains it. Egyptians found it detestable to eat with Hebrews, a cultural taboo. Okay, that makes a certain kind of sense.
Okay, but the brothers seating, this is the really weird part.
Right. They are seated before him in the order of their ages, from the firstborn to the youngest. Reuben first, then Simeon, Levi, Judah, all the way down to Benjamin.
How on earth could Joseph, this Egyptian official, know their exact birth order?
Exactly. It's uncanny. No wonder they just looked at each other in astonishment. What is going on here?
Another layer of mystery around this powerful man. It makes no sense to them.
None at all. And if that wasn't strange enough, then comes the food itself.
The portions.
Yes. Portions are served from Joseph's own table to the brothers. But Benjamin gets 5 times as much as anyone else.
5 times. That's not subtle. That's incredibly preferential treatment. Obvious favoritism.
It's extravagant. Why? Why single out the youngest brother for this extraordinary honor? From their perspective, it's just bizarre.
So they're astonished by the seating, probably bewildered by the portions.
But despite all the weirdness, the meal itself seems to go okay. The text says they feasted and drank freely with him.
So hospitality, but laced with these deeply unsettling, inexplicable details.
Precisely. So looking back at chapter 43, what really stands out to you?
Well, the sheer desperation, right, the famine forcing their hand, and Judah's incredible promise putting himself on the line.
Yeah, the high stakes are palpable. And the fear, the brothers' fear when they're taken to Joseph's house is so real.
But then you have these moments of unexpected grace, like the steward's words.
And Joseph's hidden emotion, needing to leave the room to weep, that vulnerability behind the power.
It's this amazing mix of raw human need, complex family history, hidden identities, fear, all playing out.
And why does it still grab us? I think it taps into something fundamental about family, about facing the unknown, about how past actions ripple forward.
You see that tension between control, Joseph managing the situation, testing them, and vulnerability, Israel's resignation, the brothers' fear, Joseph's tears.
It really sets the stage beautifully, doesn't it? The tension is high, the mystery is deep.
And it leaves you hanging with so many questions. Why those specific gifts? What did the steward really mean about your God?
How did Joseph know the birth order, and what was the significance of that five-fold portion for Benjamin? Seriously, 5 times.
As you think about Genesis 43, reflect on that blend. Practical needs: food, survival, deep family dynamics, grief, promises, suspicion, and these tiny, specific, almost bizarre details.
Details like the seating arrangement, like Benjamin's huge portion. What could those seemingly small things be hinting at? What might they foreshadow about what's coming next in this incredible reunion?